Alright, so I'm going to try and do this as fast as I can because the YouTube webcam uploader is just bad now. It just fucks up all the time. So, what scares me? Number one, xenophobia stuff. But I'm not going to do a whole video on that because I already did. So if you want to see that, you can go up there and click on the annotation. Number two, what scares me? The big thing is things that are illogical, improbable, unexplained, and out of place. And things, basically, that I cannot understand how to react to. And what I mean by that is, let's take two different things. Let's take the amnesia monster, and let's take the gray man. The amnesia monster is obviously humanoid. It has a mouth, it has eyes, it has a skull, it has limbs, it has a body, it has legs, etc. So, if that thing came lumbering through my door, I could use a fucking keyboard. I could use a screwdriver. I could use a chair. I could use a whole bunch of things against it because it probably operates on human physiology or something close to it because it has knees and legs and arms and eyes and a chest and head. And since amnesia operates with real-world physics for the most part, I'm going to also assume that all of the stuff that would apply to a human being being hit in the head with a fucking chair would probably apply to this monster. So therefore, it gives me ways to actually react to it because when I'm playing these games, I'm trying to treat them as if I were really there in real life. So, that's why it doesn't scare me that much. The gray man, the fuck do you do about him? I mean, is that his face, really? Is that really his head? He's just a 2D cutout type guy. He floats. So I don't know if he even has legs or if he just has little like stubby things or whatever else there. There's so many things unexplained about him or things that can't logically be deduced because LSD is a dream world, so none of the real world physics of our world apply to him, etc. He pops up out of nowhere right in front of your face, etc. So, you know, and the amnesia monster comes out of nowhere, but he still comes from behind things, etc. He doesn't literally just poof, just appear right in front of your face. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure. Second thing is motive. The amnesia monster wants to kill you. If it gets to you, it kills you. It comes after you and tries to kill you, etc. We know that's what it's going to do. Gray man? No fucking clue. Does he make you, like, just fucking have no memory? Does he kill you? Does he make you blind? What does he do? Like, we don't even know because it's a dream world. We don't even know what the hell he's even trying to do. Maybe he's trying to help you. You don't even know. So that's why it's freaky to me, is that total lack of logic, lack of knowledge, lack of why it's doing the things it does. It's why stuff like in games that have really bizarre physics freak me out and so forth. It's why even going into no-clip mode and so forth freaks me out in games because it's unexplained territory. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, I don't know, etc. Like, there's some games if you go into no-clip territory and you go around and you find like a skybox in the game, there's some really freaky shit in there, especially in Quake. Same goes for SCP. SCP Containment Breach is really not scary at all to me for the sheer fact that it explains what every single monster in the game is made out of, explains what you can do to get rid of it or like escape from it, it explains what its like habits are, it explains all this background information on it. So by definition it makes it totally not freaky at all. And it kills a lot of the fear that could have potentially been in the game. And in many horror games, there's always these really big warnings like amnesia and so forth that really tell you there's a monster around. So it gives you that warning, and so that kills a lot of the freakiness too. Like, basically, I think a lot of what scares me, the reason why illogical, improbable, etc. things scare me is because I talked about this in the heart condition video, but basically, I only have one real talent, in my opinion, and that is my ability to read people's behavioral patterns. That means, like, the way that a person's eyes shift, the way that their posture changes, their voice changes, their head tilts from one side to the other, the way they use their hands, their body language, in short, is something that I've just naturally been able to read ever since I've been young. I don't know why this is. Maybe it's because my mom read like a bunch of psychology books and stuff like that when I was around when I was younger. Maybe it's just something genetic. I don't know. But I've always been able to just read people like books when I've met them, and it's been something that I've gotten used to. Like, I've just gotten used to being able to, for the vast majority of people, being able to kind of tell the general intent. I can't read their thoughts, but their general intent, like, are they angry, are they sad, are they passionate, are they just deadpan, are they kidding, etc. And when that gets taken away from you, it's somewhat frightening when you grow up with it. It's almost sort of like sight or hearing for me, that I've gotten so used to using it. So it would be like if you were playing a game and all of a sudden you couldn't hear anything or you were rendered blind. And so that's why when games do this, when they remove any ability to tell what's going to happen next, any sort of like logic or theory or knowledge that I've gained in my 26 years of being alive, it removes it from the game and no knowledge of the real world applies. it makes it freaky, because I'm basically standing on nothing. I have no ground to stand on as to how I would deal with this creature, or this environment, or this game, or this location, etc. So that's why stuff that explains everything, like SCP, or stuff that gives it away, like amnesia, or applies to real-world physics, is really not freaky at all. And that's why stuff like the fourth wall scared the ever-living fuck out of me, because almost nothing in that game applies to real-world physics at all. It doesn't. It's just completely fucking random. And then the fact that the hand at the end coming out, the reason that scared the fuck out of me is because it's something so out of place. Like, it would be like if you grew up, and of course everybody knows that water hydrates you when you drink it. It'd be like if you drank a cup of water and it made your throat dry and burn and set on fire. Like, that would be so bizarre to you because you've got it so set in your mind that water hydrates you and it's safe to drink that you would probably go into a panic, as opposed to if I gave you some sort of unnamed substance, then you would be a lot more wary about it because you'd be like, what is this substance, etc. And if that burned your throat, well then, it'd probably be pretty unpleasant, but it wouldn't freak you out nearly as much as water doing it, etc. And that's why when you close off a game, when you close a book, when you stop listening to a song, it's done. It's out of reach. You're expected to be done with it until you reopen it again. That's the control that we have as human beings that we rely on that allows us to be safe, etc., that allows us to feel safe, that allows us to feel in control of a situation. When you close the game and the game's still up, you lose that ability to feel like you're in control of a situation. You lose that ability to feel like you know what's going on, and everything else gets completely fucked, because at that point you don't know. If you click on the start button, is there going to be another thing that comes up? Is my fucking desktop going to randomly change? Is my fucking MP3 going to start? All that stuff comes into question now because of that one single event that's happened, because now you feel you no longer know what's going to possibly happen when you're on your computer. So that's why it's so freaky to me, and why I think it's freaky to a lot of other people, as evidenced by the comments. So, hopefully that explained things a little bit more as to why things freak me out when they're illogical, unexplainable, etc. And, yeah, and something that people wanted to point out too, one of the comments was, what if you had like a gun to your head or something like that? Wouldn't you be freaked out by that? Of course I would have my natural instinctual fear as a human being that I would not want to die, but it would be admittedly a lot less scary as compared to, say, if I was driving or something like that, and everybody on the road, their passenger doors just like floated up into the sky for no apparent reason. Like, if that happened for no apparent reason, I would probably fucking like wreck my car because I'd be like so freaked out. Because that's completely illogical, completely unexplainable. Why the fuck is that happening? Why is gravity suddenly nullified just for passenger doors on cars? But a person with a gun to your head, you can think, hey, what's their motive? Are they just a random fucking murderer? Am I like, I don't know, like, did I do some gang war shit or something like that, and this guy's like fucking from the other gang trying to shoot? Like, I don't know, I'm not in that fucking situation, but stuff like that, Is the guy on drugs? Is he like, knowledgeable about how to use a gun? Has he killed people before? Is he like within arm's reach that, his finger's not on the trigger so you might have time to actually move his hand? Is his finger on the trigger so you're going to have to negotiate out of this? There's a million other ways that you could use your knowledge and experience in the real world to get yourself out of that situation. But fucking floating passenger doors, what the fuck do you do about that? What do you do about that? There's no real world knowledge or experience that's going to allow you to do anything about that. What do you do? Those fuckers could fall down from the sky at any time and kill you. They could, at that point, everything else is going to come into question, and you're not going to have any ground to stand on. So that's why stuff like that freaks me out. So that should explain it some, why stuff like amnesia, SCP, Al-Oni, etc., like, basically has nothing to freak me out whatsoever, and stuff like motherfucking fourth wall, etc., freaks me out. And for people who want to see me play amnesia and SCP, I just shot more parts of amnesia with face cam, so I can prove I'm not even freaked out. And I shot a bunch of parts of SCP Containment Breach, which will also be up. And I shot a full playthrough of Al-Oni, which will also be up soon too. I've been putting up a few parts of it. But yeah, it's not because I'm a badass, because I'm Chuck Norris, whatever else. It's just the way I think. It's just knowledge is power. There you go. Like, basically, if you have, knowledge of how the real world works and, the ways all that stuff works in a situation, then it's a lot more easier to know what to do in that situation rather than have no fucking clue whatsoever to do in that situation, because nothing applies from what you've learned from the entire time you've been alive. etc. We're going to stop this right at 10 seconds. My nose is itchy.